where do you draw the line between what's artistic freedom and then what's just outright adding to the Bible?
This has to be historically accurate, biblically accurate, archaeologically accurate, geographically, has the cultural significance. There's a lot at stake, you can say.
We don't change the truth, but we have the truth go through different means.
Our hope actually is that through the game, you'll be more interested in trying to find out more about what's written in the Bible, and in that way bring you to the Word.
Is there any secret information you can give the Chosen Generation Nation about future games, future projects? So, first of all, this is a crazy thing because I remember growing up, we had Mario Bros, we had, FIFA, we had all these games, right? But there was never a Christian video game, okay? So, can you tell me a little bit about why you guys started to make this game? Like, what was the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, so my name is Eunice, and I'm the marketing and community manager for a game studio called BibleX. And we're creating a game called Gate Zero, which is a game set in first century Israel back in Jesus' time. And you're traveling there to discover the stories of the Bible. Simply put, that's what it is. Why we decided to make it, do you want the whole history right now? Do you want me to get into that?
Yeah, I'd love to hear like the history actually, like how did this idea originate? Because you said it's a game you're going back in time. Can you explain a little bit more about what it is?
Yeah, so Gate Zero is a game that takes you back in time to explore ancient Israel, discover the gospel stories for yourself, and you get to meet Jesus, and you get to basically experience the Bible firsthand, and in a way you can say play the Bible. Yeah, so you've asked me several questions, so I'll just go ahead and answer them as
Yeah,
well as I can. So the
yeah.
game is set actually both in the in the past and in the future. You start out as a teenager named Max, in the dystopian future of 2072, where you can say, you're curious about Christianity. It's not so much talked about anymore. And your grandmother, who's a Christian who passed away, left you some clues and some things. And you have a cousin named Hector who created a time machine, and through that you grow back to discover the Bible and to solve a mystery that your grandmother left behind. That's basically what it is. We have created a world of ancient Jerusalem from the ground up in a one-to-one scale, which you can explore freely in like kind of a semi-open world way. There'll be tasks and missions, gathering, crafting, stealth. You'll obviously experience like the tension of, living there as a Jew at that time, with the Roman rule and all that. And then obviously also meet the disciples, meet Jesus, kind of get caught up into the whole story going on there. And our goal is to cover the life of Jesus from his birth to his death in 4 releases. So story, how does all begin? It actually all started out in 2020. Our
Okay.
team
So that's
BibleX.
during the lockdown, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
our team BibleX, like the core team was actually working on, like we're part of a bigger media organization, nonprofit organization called BCC Media. And so we were working at that time on creating like innovative Bible study projects for young people. At that time it was the letter to the Hebrews. So in there, there's parts about the temple being mentioned that kind of is hard to visualize and understand for us now in modern day. Just the whole way of living there then is so different. So what we were doing is that we were making animation films, like a whole series about the letter to Hebrews, and then as part of that there was going to be you can say a live show, a big event for 5,000 youth on location, where as a part of that, because it was going to be epic, we had start creating the virtual temple in 3D, and that was going to kind of be used as like like a virtual tour where you can go and look at different
Yeah.
elements of the temple, kind of understand it better and how it relates to us today. Because of COVID, that show was canceled in 2020. So then we were left with the temple, and all the work of it done and all that, and we thought like, hey, you know what? Actually, we've been working on innovating all this time, always, looking at how we can use technology, as a way to both educate and entertain young people. And gaming was a natural progression, and in 2020 we had all of a sudden that opportunity to do that. So we just went for it. And that's how it all started. It started with that virtual temple, just that model. And from there, we developed the narrative. We continued building out Jerusalem, temple and beyond, and to what it is today. I mean, it's almost 4 years ago now. So that's how it
Wow.
all began. Really, the whole drive and mission behind us doing this is to bring the message of the Bible, especially to the younger generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
Reading is kind of almost, you can say, a thing that's going to be of the past now. There's so many different ways to consume media and information, and gaming is a really, really natural part of that. And we just want to bring it in a way that, like all your senses are in there experiencing it.
Yeah.
And
It's like a full
yeah,
sense experience, right?
yeah, that's what we wanna do.
That's very cool. That's actually very cool because, a lot of my friends, we were talking about your game at school, and it's very interesting to me because it's such an innovative concept when you think about it. We're always told to read our Bibles, which is very important, and to, do the traditional things like you said of reading and stuff like that. But I like your approach to this because you're taking something that is, used by a lot of people, which is video games, and using it for something good and something that actually will help you learn more about God and not just entertain you mindlessly, but educate you as well. That's really cool to me.
Mhm.
But I suppose what would you say to someone who would be like, well, this game is gonna distract people or take away their time, or it can be a stumbling block. What would you say to someone like that? Because I'm sure there's parents out there who will be like, yeah, good intentions, but it's still a video game.
Yeah, well, like, we're not saying that you should play our game instead of reading the Bible. It's not
Yeah.
like a art, like, how you say,
It's
a
not a replacement.
replacement. It's not a replacement,
Mhm.
but our hope actually is that through the game, you'll be more interested in trying to find out more about what's written in the Bible, and in that way bring you to the word. As an example, um, we're obviously still developing the game, but we have like a free prototype out on Steam, which thousands have tried. And part of that prototype is that, you get a feel of our game. You're running through ancient Jerusalem, and there's littered all over the world little scrolls, parchments, hanging on walls or whatever on the ground that you can collect, that gives you like little tidbits of basically Bible history, of things that went on there, culture, the significance of where you're at. And yeah, just this week, actually, someone on Discord said that, like, man, I can spend hours reading that because it's so interesting. Just get the whole
Mm.
background of what's going on. And then, once you get the context of, why Jesus said this at this time, and why people did things this way and that way, then it makes the stories that you're reading in Bible so much more living. It makes so much more sense, you can say. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, like, I people are entitled to their own opinions where they think video games are good or not, but we just see it as a way that, we gotta keep up with the times as Christians. We can't just, expect that the traditional methods of education is gonna work, forever. So that's the way we see it. Like, we're there where people are, and also I think it's also an amazing opportunity for like a Christian to take along a friend that maybe isn't a believer to come play this game and just check it out because the threshold is low. Just play the game. Like, I'm not asking you to come to church or anything. So that's a way to expose them to the Bible as well.
I agree. No, I agree with that because when people have expressed that to me, like, "Oh, well, it's a video game," Christians should be they shouldn't be making video games. They should be trying to get people off video games. I think what you said is like very important because when somebody who doesn't know God is playing a video game or is not a Christian, they're not expecting to learn about the Bible necessarily, even with a game like this. And like I said, it's very low threshold, and so they might start playing it, and then those little tidbits of information there, the little historical facts about God. Who knows what God can work through? And I think it's important that as Christians we have to understand that God can work through many different things,
Mm.
and we can't make doctrines out of methods. We have to be able to use different methods to get the truth out there. We don't change the truth, but we have the truth go through different means. And I think this video game is a really cool ministry. I'm gonna share my screen with you so we can take a look at the trailer up on your website, and you kind of can walk us through a little bit more in depth about what is going on in this game.
My magnificent ultimate time machine is ready. Let's travel back in time and solve Grandma's mystery.
I'm gonna pause it there. That is beautiful, by the way. Like, I don't know who designs your art here, but that's really beautiful. Can you give me some insight into how you guys designed this ancient Israel look?
Yeah. Well, thanks first of all. It's definitely a labor of love. Since 2020. Honestly, it's hard work. That's what I can say. And obviously passion keeps us going. What's unique and challenging at the same time, but what we're doing is that this was a world that actually existed. So as compared to like a fantasy game or whatever where you can do basically whatever you want, this has to be historically accurate, biblically accurate, archaeologically accurate, geographically, has the cultural significance. There's a lot at stake, you can say. So we've done a tremendous amount of research. We have a team of historians actually that we talk with regularly. And
Oh
you
wow.
can't believe, the amount of detail that goes into working on something like this, like red, having red on a roof or brown on a roof or something that has significant down to that kind of detail.
Like,
There's
even the
significant.
colors.
Oh yeah, like like for example, maybe a certain color paint wouldn't have exist back then. They wouldn't have even painted nothing. Things like that you don't even honestly think about.
Man.
That is the kind of detail and work that goes into making something like this. So definitely, it's taken us several years, and we've done Jerusalem now. Where we're actually working on Capernaum. And that's the kind of process that I see the team going through. I don't work directly with development, but I see the conversations and things that go on. And honestly, I just really respect them for, you know, working on this and not giving up because it's hard work, but I think that it will pay off because of the authenticity of the world that can bring people
Yes.
hopefully closer to the Bible and to the text and understanding. Yeah, the
Yeah,
significance
no,
of
that's
that
one big
time.
thing for me because it's so real, like it makes the Bible so much more real. Because honestly, I remember reading about Jesus going to Jerusalem and you know people are bowing down and saying Hosanna, Hosanna. And it's sometimes it can be hard to picture that because I've never been to Israel. I've never, really been exposed to the Middle East at all. So sometimes it's hard to visualize what Jesus' day-to-day life might have been like. But I love this because it just shows, I mean, really accurately, talking about historians and being consulted with your team. That's so cool to me. But it really accurately shows like what Jesus would have lived like, and it makes the Bible that much more real. So let's keep on going with this, but this is really, really cool.
We need to get back to Jerusalem, to the early years of Jesus' life, to figure out these riddles.
Are you looking for someone?
Yes, young man, we are looking for a son.
I'm gonna pause it there because I like voice acting. Funny story to the audience who doesn't know this yet, but I like voice acting a lot. If I wasn't doing this podcast, who knows, maybe I would be voice acting. So talk to me a little bit about the process of getting voice actors and voice talent for your characters.
Okay. So where is that still work in progress and the voices
Okay.
that you hear now are like from our prototype? Um
That's some of
yeah.
their team.
But no, actually. No, we hired them. But yeah, the
Okay.
process is interesting because we've had actually so much interest from people that just want to contribute to our game with voice
Yeah.
acting. And having said that, there is a possibility if you're interested, you can just join our Discord. We're not ready to put out auditions yet, but we will. But yeah, like
When
honestly, it was a little challenging because I actually worked directly with voice acting at that time. When we created this prototype. And it's actually because we are looking for, like, you can say, like, Hebrew accents. There are not that many
Oh,
people
so like
that can
Jewish
do that.
accents.
Yeah, actually, there were
Yeah.
not that many that could do that.
I gotta start
Many people
practicing then,
try
huh?
and practice, yeah. But we're looking for something that was still, you can say, understandable
Yeah.
by the general public, like especially like Americans and stuff, not too far off, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a fun experience. Yeah, we had a good workflow going, and because our characters are animated with mocap, with motion capture, so the voice actors had to also be able to match that, because that
Oh,
was
I
done
see.
prior to the voice
Yeah.
acting, because obviously it's very very much easier to switch out a voice than to switch out a whole
Mhm.
animation. So yeah.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I need to start practicing my Hebrew accent then because
Yeah.
who knows, maybe you'll see me voice acting on BibleX Games. Funny story. I was in my church's play last Easter and it was about like the Bible times and whatever. And I did what I thought was a fantastic Aramaic accent. Come to find out after the play that nobody knew what I was saying the entire time. And they thought I was speaking a Spanish accent. So definitely need some work. But let's let's keep going with this trailer. Oh,
This is Max, and he is looking for Yeshua.
Would you be able to help me? I left the gate open for just 1 second.
Let's catch some lambs.
What was that? People of Jerusalem.
okay. I'm gonna stop it there again because you mentioned about motion capture.
Mhm.
Can you describe a little bit more about like how that works?
Yeah, so that was something we did also a little bit ago. We might be looking at using new technology, but basically, motion capture allows, a small team like ours to be able to do animation quickly and efficiently and
Hmm.
cost effectively. It's great. You basically get actors, they put on a suit with all the different, you've probably seen, videos of that with all the different like
Yeah.
motion sensors, and they basically act out the scenes, and then we could replace those models with, how the characters will look like and all that with the right clothes and facial features and all that. But basically the whole face and body movement is captured, making it a lot more efficient to animate. And yeah, it's kind of funny, like animating like how do you say that? Like idol stances, and it's just anyways.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of fun. I think that our actors had a lot of fun.
yeah. I can tell. Did they? So when he threw that like rock, did they actually like throw a rock in the studio and like break a wall or something, or how did they do that?
No, not the rock itself, but like the people moving, yeah.
Wow, cool.
Jerusalem. What do you want me to do with this man you say is king of the Jews?
That's amazing. Wow. Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Wow. That's amazing. I want to wish this on Steam right now. I'm gonna do it after this. So that was the trailer for the audience that's listening right now. Sorry you couldn't see it, but for the audience who's watching on video, you guys got to see that. But Eunice, kind of tell me a little bit more about, I suppose, like the team dynamics. Because for something like this, you need a team that's committed. Like you mentioned, passion has to be there. So can I describe your team to me? Like, what are they like? Are they all Christians? Are they some of them just people that are passionate about the Bible? What's your team like?
Yeah, it's a mix actually. Obviously we have, we want to hire people that are passionate about Bible and are Christians and all that, but truth is that a lot of that talent lies outside that as well. So we've
Mm,
just hired both actually.
yeah.
Just whoever's talent fits fit, what we're looking for. We've hired
Mm-hmm.
them. We're a team. So our team is actually the main office is located in Norway.
Okay.
I'm
Wow.
in Ohio. I'm in the US working with marketing here. But yeah, the main team is in Norway. There's, I think, maybe 8 people working in the office. And then the rest of us are remote, just around the world, basically. Some in Europe, some here in North America, working, with time zones and all that.
Yeah.
It's nice with game development because you can really do that remote thing. And yeah, we're a great team. We have fun.
What's your workplace environment like?
Like in Norway.
Yeah.
It's an office. I don't know. Norway is like a kind of country known to be pretty cold and dark.
Yeah.
Beautiful mountains, beautiful scenery, fresh air. Yeah, it's a Scandinavian country. Yeah, it's an environment where we have an open office and people just talk, and there's always the programmers, those guys are always innovating and looking at new
Mm-hmm.
tools and things like that. Our leader, you can say, head of BibleX, his name is Arvisoli. You can say a visionary in that way. He dreams big. He has the drive. He's really creative. Um, yeah, several of the team members are like that, and that's really fun, really awesome. And yeah, we love
Mm.
food. We love good
I bet.
food.
Yeah, amen to that.
Sometimes we'll have like special lunches where we, have food from the culture of the game we're developing and
That's so cool. So like you're having
for fun.
Hebrew food, like you're talking some bread and fish, or like some
Some
figs and dates.
hummus
Yeah,
and
hummus.
that kind of thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it sounds
Unleavened
like you guys
bread.
have unleavened bread. Yeah, man, that's fun. I would love to work for a place like that, man. The way you describe it, that sounds really fun. So I was talking to my friend earlier, and I told him I was going to be doing this podcast with you guys, and he had an interesting question that I think would open up some good discussion. But like, what's your you kind of alluded to this earlier, but like, what's your end goal with BibleX Games? Do you guys want to create more? Is Gate Zero going to be the only one? What's kind of your future goal for this project that you guys are doing?
hmm So I mentioned a little bit about it just now. Our goal is to develop, to tell the stories of Jesus' life from his birth to his death in 4 releases. So the plan right now, we're working on the first release. We're planning on that coming out next year.
Okay.
And then continuing to develop more releases to finish all those stories.
Okay.
But the good thing about what we're doing is that, after developing the world and everything, then the next releases we just have to do stories.
Yeah.
That world's the same. So yeah, that's the plan. And we do have bigger dreams than that, but we'll have to see how it goes first. We dream of, doing the stories of Paul and all that too.
Wow.
Yeah, what we really
That'd be
want to
cool.
do is also to get people thinking about what they're experiencing, to go beyond, just understanding, but also to practice what there's, the life they see in Jesus and all
Mhm.
that, how he was, to kind of think about what that means for my own life personally,
Mhm.
apply that. How do I, reflect Jesus in my life? So
Mhm.
it's kind of what we want to do too, so that this is a game for Christians as well, and also for non-Christians, maybe in a little
Mhm.
bit different ways. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. So you mentioned you want to do 4 releases from birth to death, and maybe even expand to like Paul and stuff in the future. Which like Bible story that you guys have not done yet would you love to do? Like David and Goliath, or Joshua, or Moses and the Red? Like what story? Like man, like I would love to design that, market that, make that into a game.
We've had so many people asking this, actually, wanting stories from the Old Testament.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like Moses.
Yeah, that would be. We actually want to do like little Christmas DLC one day, of Jesus' birth, just like a little special thing.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, we haven't thought too much about Old Testament, mostly because we have a mission with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like I explained, we want people to understand, the life of Jesus, how that applies
Okay.
to daily life. And the Old Testament in that sense is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there'll be some flashbacks. I don't know. It's all one big story. So
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So this is a little bit more serious question because these questions are going to come up as you guys grow. I'm sure you guys are going to grow more than this, and these questions will definitely come up. And one of them has to do with, I'm not sure if you've seen The Chosen, that TV show. Yeah. And one of the biggest criticisms they've gotten, at least from what I've seen, is with regard to how they depict Jesus. And people say, well, they're adding to the Bible by showing Jesus doing this and this and this, which wasn't in the Bible. So with your game, is that a concern that you guys have, that might be something that people might say? And if so, how do you avoid that issue of depicting Jesus in a way the Bible never depicted him?
I think let's put it this way. What the Bible does depict about Jesus is what we're planning to have accurate.
Okay.
According to what's written, because we don't want to stray from the word in that sense.
Yeah.
But what the Bible doesn't say, the one day between the day he did this and this, there's nothing written about that. He could be doing whatever,
Yeah.
That's kind of what we call artistic freedom, where we get to, for the sake of you understanding everything, there are no holes in the story. Because I totally get the Chosen's side of the argument too, because to be able to show that authentic Jesus that they want to show, they show him as a man like you and I, the way he lived and all that. He had a daily life, he didn't just come for those moments of miracles and then everything else. What did he do? Right? He was still around. But yeah, so that's what we plan to do. We plan to stay true to the Bible, the parts that are written about him, and the parts that aren't. We're not going to make up something completely crazy, but we're going to take some freedom, obviously, to be able to, you can say, support what we're doing with the narrative and all that. So that's what we're planning to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, because I mean, you just have to really, with a game like this, you can't only have what's recorded in the Bible. And even in the book of John, it does say that Jesus did so much more than is recorded in the Bible, just because there's not enough space to record all the different things he did, right? So at some point, you do have to use, like you said, artistic freedom, and add some scenarios that aren't explicitly mentioned in the Bible. Where do you draw the line between what's artistic freedom and then what's just outright adding to the Bible? Because I'm sure people will wonder that question, when does it become unfaithful to biblical accuracy, or when does it become artistic freedom?
Hmm. That's a good question. I mean, apart from what I already said about how we're not gonna, make up something that would not be something that's in the Bible, you can say, everything that's in the Bible is gonna be accurate. Apart from that, I think a big asset we have are the historians that we consult, and they would say they go down to even saying, he would most likely not have done this because of, and then there's a background,
Oh, I see.
like Jewish customs or whatever, right? So that will help too. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, no one really knows.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. So you have a team of historians there. How often do you guys talk to them, every day, or just you have a question about this, you reach out and this.
mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So besides those historians, do you have anyone else who's maybe pastors or Bible scholars that are involved in helping you guys with this project?
We do, and after we finish the writing and everything, we plan to send that to few different people too, you can say, from a variety of backgrounds to look at that.
Mhm.
So I can't name who they are,
Yeah,
but that's the plan. Yeah.
that's awesome. Wow. And that's one thing that I've really been impressed with, even in this conversation, and also just looking at you guys online and social media, that I can tell that you guys have put a lot of effort into this, because I think, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've seen somewhere that there was another Christian video game that tried to come out a few years ago or something like that, but it was just really bad quality and it didn't really there's no effort to it and all this stuff. And I think if you want to do something like this, like what you guys are doing, you have to put effort into it, because you are taking something that is so widely loved and appreciated, which is the Bible, and trying to get into using it to make a video game to teach people about the Word of God. And so I think really that's what has been so impressive to me. And this is why I think you guys will be successful, is because you're putting so much time and effort into it. And I think God rewards that. And I think the audience and the consumers will reward that. And I'm excited for the future of BibleX Games for sure. And I guess, Eunice, before I let you go, is there any secret information you can give the Chosen Generation Nation about future games, future projects that we could be expecting down the line?
Mm, Maybe not future projects, but we're working on. I don't know if anyone who's listening has tried our prototype on Steam. We've gotten a lot of feedback about that. So we're actually currently working on making some new and exciting game mechanics, improving on the gameplay. And so, yeah, I would say the best way to do it, to find out secret info is to join our Discord, because we
Discord.
share stuff there that we don't share anywhere else.
Yeah.
And make sure to wish list us on
Yes.
Steam. Helps a lot. And tell your friends.
All right. We'll do that. Eunice, thanks so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed our conversation. Chosen Generation Nation, if you guys want to support them, follow them on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Make sure you guys are subscribed, follow their stuff, and of course, wishlist them on Steam. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot about BibleX Games in the future. But Eunice, thanks again for joining me, and take care.
Thanks, Chuchu. Bye.
God bless.